Obviously, MS came into my life and was like, "Hi, I'm just going to knock you down and make it impossible for you to do 24-hour days in the way you used to." And then I was like a little bit sad, obviously, as you can imagine, when you've put a lot of time and effort into something. And at that point, the fashion industry wasn't very inclusive when it comes to disability
Mm-hmm.
in general. And obviously, because I love fashion, I couldn't let it go at all. So it
Of
became
course,
like
yeah.
part of my personality. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, look, I need to be like, being disabled is one thing. I'm all cool with that, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
be a fashionable disabled person. So I started off with my clothes, create like ease of wear. Like so, I'll be fashionable, but I try to put clothes on that are easy to wear. Because obviously, weight and certain textures and stuff of MS and my hypersensitivity can make me feel a bit off. So then, what I did from there was I lost my mobility slightly on my left side of my body. It kind of drags behind me, so I was like, I had this really horrible like hospital mobility aids that they give you that are like grey and depressing. And I found a brand called Neo Walk Sticks, and I started collecting those because now they like work with my outfits. And I think just from being unapologetically me, having a big mouth, and talking
I
confused
love it.
about fashion, people just started offering me opportunities. And were like, hey, how about you get in front of the camera, which is so not my thing. Like, I do it now because I'm okay, but when I first did it, it was like full on like anxiety moment because I feel safe behind the camera. Celebrate the things like people go, oh, you lost some weight, and they think that's a good thing. But the thing about that is sometimes that's just a result of what my health is doing, and then all of a sudden I'll blow up again. And my view of myself is weird. So people go, "Oh, you look amazing," but then I don't see that all the time. Or someone's like, "No, you're not fat," and I'll look in the mirror. That's literally how I feel. It's a day-to-day battle with myself. Like it's, I send photos to other people and be like, "This look okay?" And they're like, "You look great," but I still am unpicking every little fault that I can see. I don't know if that's just my body dysphoria or is that also being a fashion stylist and having to pick up faults in an image has kind of programmed my brain in a way where I'm like, well, that could have been better. And maybe if you slightly turned and maybe if you smiled more, and it's like, give yourself a break, Rox. Like, come on, love yourself because you love everyone else. I still look at those photos, they're cropped and still not perfect, but I'm realizing that look, like, am I ever going to be happy? Maybe not. Should I keep myself back? No. I'm trying to, like, have you ever tried to push through something where you do something so extreme to try and change the direction of how you feel? I'd love to help people create accessible, adaptable fashion that is actually fashionable. So there's a difference between clothes and style and being chic and fashionable. They're not the same thing. It's getting
But
funding. There's people ready to make it, but it's about getting the funding to create that kind of new clothing. And also, like, I done a panel recently at NADEX in Birmingham, and I was on a great panel of people, and a lot of the feedback was like, when there's students at school, at fashion college, trying to innovate and be more adaptable, no one
mm-hmm.
knows how to. So there's no information that people can give other people to be like, oh, this is how
Mm-hmm.
you do this is how you make it adaptable. So we need to.
Hello, welcome to my podcast, Two Mic One Joe Suits. I'm Joe Suits, and I'll be giving my to Roxy. Roxy is a multiple sclerosis advocate and a disabled fashionista. So let's spill some tea. I have here you are in your vamp bimbo era. What does a vamp bimbo look like?
Okay, so a vamp bimbo is like, I love Barbie and stuff, but I'm way more into like Monster High dolls and like Elvira. So like I'm a bimbo for sure because MS just makes you a bimbo through the way it affects your brain, and my recall memory is terrible. But I like to be vampy. I like to be dark. I like to be gothic. So that's my vamp bimbo era.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, like you mentioned Barbie, you could kind of had the perfect time because of the Barbie movie that came out. So everyone
Yeah.
did the Barbie memes and all that, but you're the darker version of it. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's more like I'm more like a dark doll than I am a light doll. But I'm super excited for the Barbie movie because we've all had a Barbie. I just cut her hair and dyed it with my felt tips.
I mean, I didn't have a Barbie, obviously, but I'm curious about the movie. It's not a serious movie though. It's like a weird comedy kind of thing. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
they just, I don't know. I feel like it could be a crazy movie that everyone can enjoy, not just people that like Barbie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it looks really, really funny. Like, I cannot figure out who it's actually been made for. Like, is it for children? Is it for adults? It's so, like, peculiar. But it looks really, like, parody-like. And kind of like it kind of plays on the tropes of what Barbie is. And I'm actually kind of excited for that.
Yeah, there's like a lot of satire into it. I think like John Cena is like a mermaid in it for some strange reason.
I
And
love
then
John
there's like
Cena.
20 different like hot like A celebrities, and I'm like, how are they gonna put all this together into a movie? So I'm kind of excited for it, but I can't show that I'm excited for it. So, but I'll watch it when it comes out like on Netflix or something.
Oh, I'm definitely going to the cinema. Like, I'm already like, come on, drop the date so I can book a ticket because I'm going to go there and I will be my vamp bimbo. Turn up as Dark Barbie.
I mean, I used to dress him all bright and such, but now I'm kind of converting to dark, and I think I think maybe it's just I'm growing older too. But I think dark clothes look good. It gives you more of a like a bolder look.
Yeah. I like a good colour block though. A little bit of bright, a little bit of dark, a little bit of contrast, a little bit chic.
Well, let's talk about you because I know that when you did fashion design, but you used to create clothes for other people, and you're always behind the scenes. And then let's talk about your transition to being behind the scenes to now being in front of the scenes. Like, what made you want to be more, I guess, more make yourself more popular?
So for me, obviously I was a fashion stylist for years, so I worked behind the scenes on runway shows and stuff like that. But then obviously MS came into my life and was like, "Hi, I'm just going to knock you down and make it impossible for you to do 24-hour days in the way you used to." And then I was like a little bit sad, obviously, as you can imagine, when you've put a lot of time and effort into something. And at that point, the fashion industry wasn't very inclusive when it comes to disability
Hmm.
in general. And obviously, because I love fashion, I couldn't let it go at all. So it
Of
became
course,
like
yeah.
part of my personality. Like,
Hmm.
I was just like, look, I need to be like, being disabled is one thing. I'm all cool with that. But I'm going to
Yeah.
be a fashionable disabled person. So I started off with my clothes, create like ease of wear. Like, so I'll be fashionable, but I try to put clothes on that are easy to wear. Because obviously, weight and certain textures and stuff of MS and my hypersensitivity can make me feel a bit off. So then what I did from there was I lost my mobility slightly on my left side of my body. It kind of drags behind me. So I was like, I had these really horrible, like, hospital mobility aids that they give you that are like grey and depressing. And I found a brand called Neo Walk Sticks and I started collecting those because now they like work with my outfits. And I think just from being unapologetically me, having a big mouth, and talking
I
confused
love it.
about fashion, people just started offering me opportunities. And were like, hey, how about you get in front of the camera, which is so not my thing. Like, I do it now because I'm okay, but when I first did it, it was like full on like anxiety moment because I feel safe behind the camera.
Really? I mean, I've been in front of the camera for a while now. I love it. Like, don't you feel empowered when you're like in front of the camera now? Like you're the center of attention, like something you always want to do, like you do with your clothes?
It's weird because you'd think so, right? You'd be like, "Oh, well, don't you love fashion?" So, but it's so weird seeing like yourself kind of like in front of a camera, and like now we can like see ourselves talking to each other. So
Hmm.
like you can kind of see your view of what you look like, and I self shoot a lot, so it's that thing of like, basically having disability. It's that trust exercise of being like, okay, I know this person's a professional photographer, but I'm trusting myself that I know my own body and how to pose. But I'm also trusting the photographer that they know how to capture the part of me that I see.
Hmm.
Because the thing is, we all view every person we meet slightly differently, and probably
Hmm.
a lot differently than they view themselves. So I do feel empowered when I come out of the scenario, but when I work into the scenario, I'm still like literally a bag of nerves.
You touched on a good point, but we're gonna dive more into that. So I have here you were diagnosed in 2014. You kind of mentioned before that you have blurred vision and spasm, reduced mobility on your left side. You will often be seen with a cane. you would get tingling in your hand, legs, and feet, hypersensitive to temperature. Since then, you deal with body dysphoria. So how is that journey going for you?
I am trying to get through it every day. It's a weird thing because people celebrate the things, like people go, "Oh, you lost some weight," and they think that's a good thing. But the thing about that is sometimes that's just a result of what my health is doing. And then all of a sudden I'll blow up again. And my view of myself is weird. So people go, "Oh, you look amazing," but then I don't see that all the time. Or someone's like, "No, you're not fat," and I'll look in the mirror. That's literally how I feel. It's a day-to-day battle with myself. Like I send photos to other people and be like, "This look okay?" And they're like, "You look great," but I still am unpicking every little fault that I can see. I don't know if that's just my body dysphoria or is that also being a fashion stylist and having to pick up faults in an image has kind of programmed my brain in a way where I'm like, well, that could have been better, and maybe if you slightly turned, and maybe if you smiled more, and it's like, give yourself a break, Rox. Like, come on, love yourself because you love everyone else.
I mean, I talk to other people that have this body dysphoria, and I almost don't really understand it. Like, I understand that like you don't like your body, but it seems like on a much deeper level, and that's something I can never really fully understand. So let's talk about like now. So like, what do you think of yourself now on the camera here?
It's weird. So like, I've had to get, because I do my own podcast too. I've had a lot of time to get used to staring at myself. It's
Mm-hmm.
weird because it's like a control thing. I'm okay now because I can control what my face is doing and I know what I look like. So there's no slips. There's no moments of like where I go, "Oh, what do I look like? What was that? How did that work? Like, how did that go? Do I look good?" I can see and I can adjust it. It's when I
Mm-hmm.
can't see those things, that's
Mm.
what really irks me and gets me. And it's constant, it never stops. And people are like always compliment me, but I don't know, I just can't see that. And it's weird because sometimes I'll do it. Like, have you ever taken a photo of yourself and you're like, "Oh, that photo's a bit," and you just left it in your
Mm-hmm.
phone, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's great," and then you've gone back like 6 months later, looked at the same photo, and you've gone, "Actually, I'm gorgeous." Like, what is that about? But it's taken me time to step away from myself and from the image and do more stuff, and then kind of look back at myself and be like, "Actually, you should have been kind to yourself last year or the year before because actually you look great. You probably look better then than you do now." Like yeah, it's a constant battle.
Yeah, I mean, I can feel like sometimes it depends on like as we're getting older, and like you were talking about like weight change, it can happen. Like I don't take medicine, so that really happens to me. But I think it's also more with women too, and like if you're dealing with periods, that's one thing, and then you're dealing with medicine. Some days you can be more bloated than others, so
Yeah.
that calculates it. So sometimes I think you can see like maybe when you took a photo now, you think you look ugly, and then maybe you look worse 6 from now, and then you look back and you're like, oh, I look better then because I'm look worse now because that's different. But like, it's, I mean,
Hormones are a massive big play into it as well. Like where I am hormonally, both mentally and physically, definitely plays a part on it. Because I'll look at myself one week, the week of my period, and then the week after, and I've got a whole different view of myself just based on where my hormones are.
yeah. So I'm guessing, do you say your body dysphoria is consistent with yourself in terms of how you view yourself, or is it more like a hormonal that you're bloated, so you are uglier? If that I don't know if you understand the question I'm trying to ask. I'm
It's a
trying to.
bit of both because it's constantly there regardless, but on
Mm-hmm.
that one Aunt Flow week, it's elevated. Like it's like, and it's like, it's coming every month. Like, what is
Mm-hmm.
that? Like, what? It's not a
Yeah.
surprise. And I should probably, like, I used to track it. And I know as soon as I start feeling moody and you start going, "Oh, you look terrible, you look fat," like I should know that that's the week it's about to come. We know it's happening, but it's like my brain never figures that out. It's like a constant thing where it's like, "Oh, surprise!" And I'm like, "Why is it a surprise?" Like I'm like 35 this year. This is not a surprise anymore. But somehow I still fall victim to the same circle of life for me.
Yeah. I mean the boy girl dynamic. I can see how it's like hard for women to like have a consistent, I guess like hormonal thing because their bodies are fluctuating like all the fucking time. and like I can imagine it's still fucking annoying to deal
Yeah.
with. Like, and then like dealing with multiple sclerosis, like me talking to other people about it. Multiple sclerosis in itself is not consistent either. Like, I don't know like what medication you're on. I think you're on a medication where you take it like once a month, right?
Well, I haven't started it, but I'm basically waiting to be trained to take a drug called Kesimpta, and it's an injectable that you take once a month. It's very similar to another drug I was taking called Ocrevus, but it gives me a bit more autonomy over my life and not having to go to hospital all the time. But since that, like, I've not had a drug for 2 years. So for the last 2 years, I've just been riding free, which is not as great as people think it is. Like, because I can feel the effects inside my body of, like, just how things have progressed. Not massively. I have no new lesions in my brain, thankfully. Fingers crossed. However, it's better to take the drug, but like you know, the drugs come with its own side effects. It comes with its own like things like overheating. My T cells are knocked down, so I'm susceptible to more like infections and stuff, which can also affect how your body processes life, and then in turn it has other effects like my hormones and so forth.
So, you being off of it for 2 years, was that a personal choice, or was there just nothing available for you to take anymore?
A bit of both. It was a personal choice simply because, like, ultimately I was taking the drug before and it was great, but I kept getting UTIs and I was not feeling great. So it was like, well, let me see if I can build up my immune system. And also it was in the middle of a pandemic. So ultimately it kicks out my T cells, which means I'm so susceptible to disease and infections. I had to mentally figure out, am I going to go with the whole having no immune system and possibly catching COVID, which I have not caught, thankfully, or am I going to take this drug and then see? And I thought my MS was in an okay place. And I also wasn't so happy with the drug. I don't like infusions. I barely like having blood tests. And as mad as it's, I hate injections too, but I'm going with, I can have a tattoo. Maybe I can inject myself once a month and we'll see how this works. And if this is terrible, I'll change again. Because that's the thing about your life and your health. You have to make decisions that work for you, and they're not always going to be the same that works for someone else. And you've got to be okay with what you're doing and be unapologetic about what you want to do. Like, whatever risk I take is a risk that I have to think out, and I have to weigh out the pros and cons of it. And that's kind of what I did in this scenario.
Well, I know like multiple sclerosis affects everyone differently, so I'm assuming it doesn't affect you that much that you didn't have to take it for 2 years. So are you saying that now that you're wanting to try this new trial thing for yourself, is it because your condition has worsened, or is it something you just want to try out just to see if it improves your life?
So my condition's not worsened. It's pretty much stable in the sense of like it's not got worse or better for a long time. However, I'm 35. I'm not getting any younger. And we know it's relapse and remitting, but also MS can go into primary progressive MS. To avoid that and to avoid gaining new lesions on my brain and gaining new symptoms, it's optimal to try and take a drug. So for now, I'm like, look, I need to find a drug that basically will benefit my future self so that at least, hopefully, I can stay in this state and not progress any further.
So let's kind of go back to the body dysphoria thing. So did you have body dysphoria before you had multiple sclerosis, or was that something you kind of gained together?
I've had it forever. Like, I was not a skinny kid, and now, well, that's the thing. Okay, so the thing about MS is you don't know when you get it. You get diagnosis when you get diagnosis. I was originally misdiagnosed, so my first symptoms were at 18, had double vision and blindness, but they thought I had lupus and antiphospholipid syndrome. And that was predominantly because I was brown, and then back then they didn't know that it affected people that weren't white. That's fair. But before that, I was never really skinny. I was a lot bigger than I am now. My lifestyle wasn't amazing, but there was things that I noticed at school. Like, if I think back now, I know a lot about MS. Like, oh, she lacks concentration, she's never focused. Those kind of things were actually typically MS symptoms. Because I was quite small until I got to about 14. And then all of a sudden, when my hormones and stuff kicked in, so did all this cognition effects. But I didn't know what it was. And you just get, you know what it's like at school, they're naughty, or they're not focused, or they don't care kind of vibes. And, you know, I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was just going maybe go through depression, or maybe I just, you're a teenager. I was a little bit emo. I lived like that life, so I didn't know no different. But now I look back at it and I think, well, actually, they probably do go hand in hand, because it all kind of initiated in my early to late teens, but also so did certain effects that I can think of now. So also manifested. But I didn't have the knowledge then to know that these two things could link, or that it could have even been a possibility.
Yeah, so now I'm kind of curious so if you're taking the medicine, let's say the medicine does work for your multiple sclerosis, will that change your body dysphoria, or will it change how you react to yourself?
No. So it doesn't repair anything, for one. So it just like lessens the effects of things, but it will never repair something. You'll always still have the same effects. It just won't go forward. However, it's not gonna change my view of myself. That I think, obviously I'm not a scientist, so there might be some doctor somewhere that's like, no, actually you're wrong, and that's fine. If I'm wrong, let me know, call me, let me know. I'm always happy to listen. However, for me, I don't think that's the case. I think it's way more deeply rooted in the mental psyche. And I think that's something that maybe therapy and something else like that will help me unravel. I don't think taking a drug is going to change how I feel about myself in that sense.
Did doing research on you and knowing that you have body dysphoria, based on looking at your page and even like the last 24 hours, you've been posting like sexy photos, like nothing is wrong, and you've just been living your full life.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, look, like I said to you, I still look at those photos, they're cropped and still not perfect, but I'm realizing that, look, am I ever going to be happy? Maybe not. Should I keep myself back? No. I'm trying to, have you ever tried to push through something, where you do something so extreme to try and change the direction of how you feel? So I need to look at myself.
Have you seen my posts?
Yes.
And how I'm just, okay, for one, there's like a lot of things that goes with it. So one is I think most people couldn't do what I do, and with the body that I have. So I have that going for me, which is awesome. Two is just I think of a lot of mental, mental disabilities or mental hurdles. So for example, so anxiety, fear, and insecurity is something you can always it's just a thought of it, right? So yeah. I'm just and I try to think of it logically. So really, no one is stopping me from posting a naked photo of myself, right? You always have that mind of oh, what if no one likes it, or someone just said you're ugly and such, and I don't really care anymore. There's just whatever's in my head is just holding me back, and I'm just gonna ignore it and just go on with the photo and just do whatever I do because it's great. Two, I think the other thing is just acceptance of myself. This is the best I'm ever gonna look. If I'm just waiting for a cure and stuff, which will never happen in my lifetime anymore. But if I'm waiting, nothing will ever happen. And I think people just gotta stop worrying about what other people think, because I've just been kind of doing me, and I have some great posts that people like, and then I have posts that people don't like. But at the end of the day, logically, 99% of people that we meet, we will never talk. The chances of me seeing you in person is probably really minuscule, because we're across the ocean, But just kind of do what you gotta do, and you have to attract the people that are attracted to you. At the end of the day, you're only gonna meet less than 1% of your following, so you might as well do whatever you want to do. And at the end of the day, it's also, I'm not that important that people are gonna remember what kind of posts I do anyway. Kind of a combination of things. So if you post a nude photo of yourself, an hour later everyone can forget about the nude photo, right?
Yeah.
That's how I do it. So when I see that you have the body dysphoria, it's hard to, I have an opinion about it, and I feel it's something you can just push over it, but at the same time, I really don't know how it feels in your head. How it is, maybe it's a lot harder than what I am making it seem too, and I can't fully know because I don't think I have it. But I think I think I also have the thing I like pushing myself. Like, why should I not do something? And then I think it's a stupid reason, and I just go on with it anyway and just own it.
No, I agree. Like although I do feel it and I know that I have that, I do find myself in situations that have to push me through. And then I'll see
Hmm.
the photos and I'll criticize them. Then I get over it and then I'll move on. And that's probably something that I can't. I don't know if it will ever stop, but it's something that I feel like you said. Like sometimes you just got to go through the emotion. That's even with anxiety when I do something. Like so many times I do speaking opportunities. I speak on panels and I talk about adaptable
Hmm.
fashion, sex and disability, that kind of thing. But I always feel nervous when I'm about to walk up to the podium, and sometimes like literally feel sick, like I'm gonna vomit. But then as soon as the thing happens, it's like the light switches on and I kick into gear, and then
It's
obviously
a great feeling, right?
it's so like you kind of go, what's wrong with me? Like I love this, I love it. Is that what makes me feel the way I feel? Is like, do you want it too much? Are you too excited for it that now you feel? Because anxiety and excitement are very similar feelings.
I think it's a normal feeling to feel nervous. Like I kind of feel nervous. I've been doing this for like almost a year and a half now, 2 years. So it's only like the minute before they like show up that I get like nervous about it because like, hey, we're meeting for the first time. I have no idea how we're gonna be. Like maybe we're
Yeah.
gonna be best friends. We're gonna be I don't know soulmates. I don't know. I might meet my lover here at one point. I guess. Or maybe we're not gonna have the chemistry at all. Like I don't know. But as soon as we say like hi to each other then it's like all good and it's like why was I nervous for anything? Like just you're a person, like I'm just gonna talk to you as a regular person and just go along with it. And I think it's just yeah, I think just the nervousness is great. I think it's just the people that aren't seemingly confident. I think don't they just push through it anyway. And then because most of the time it works out really well. Like we're having a great conversation. Like we're not gonna like no one can be tell each other to go fuck ourselves, It's like it's great.
Yeah. I wouldn't say go fuck yourself, I promise.
I mean, I don't know, but like, just I think we put too much negativity in our lives, and I think there's so many more positive things that could come out of it too.
I think
I mean,
social media does that to you. I think when you see so many people be so perfect all the time, it kind of does make you question yourself sometimes. And we put too much weight and too much like leverage on it for our self worth. And I think sometimes that plays a massive part into how you feel even connecting with someone because you kind of go, oh, I'm going to meet you, but this person has like 200,000 followers. They even talk to me, and it's ridiculous because none of this is not real life. It's social media. It's like a video game, really. In real life, we're all human. We bleed the same. We'll die the same. We're born the same. Like there's no difference. But we make it so because we put so much weight on followers and likes and
um,
comments.
I think most people will put weight on it. So like, I'll give you an example. So like, I don't know if you know special books by special kids. I don't know if you're
Okay.
familiar with that.
No.
Oh, so this guy, he goes around the United States and he did like other countries too. So he did goes around interviewing disabled people and and crazy disabled people or like horrifying injuries and whatnot. And so like but he has 3 million subscribers, right? And
Okay.
so well, what's unique about him that he goes to people's houses, so he had that personal connection that you get in person versus like over like this video. It's not the same. But anyway, like a lot of people will be just intimidated by him because he has 3 million subscribers. He can make a video on you. You want to showcase your best self. You want to look like an idiot. Like I remember one person messaged me like was so worried about like him editing the video. Like, will he make me look like a monster? Will he make me look stupid? And like for one, he's a professional. He can make you look good too and such. But like after a while, it kind of becomes inauthentic. I think on social media, it becomes inauthentic if you're always showing your best self. Like you own it because it's like weird. And like the longer you're on social media, the more likely people not like you because if you're putting yourself more, people have more of an opportunity to like not like you. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that
And
does make.
but like I do, but like I think most people are intimidated by like I'm verified on Instagram now, so I think people are a little intimidated by that. Like, oh, look at him, he's a hotshot now, and I mean,
Your big tan.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, I think it is because I think it's an accomplishment that very people do get. Like, I'm not gonna change because of that, but it does give me a little kind of arrogance about it too, because like it's really hard to get there. Like,
Yeah.
no, not many people do it. Like, I'm the VIP. Like, I kind of want to hang out with other VIPs, you know?
You should feel good. Like we should not have to feel like we can't celebrate our own wins.
Oh no, I feel really great about it. Like, some people get talk shit. I'll like verify it's not that big of a deal, and I'm like, are you kidding me? If you got verified, you'd be like jumping around and shit. Like, come on, give me this. Like, I worked hard for this. Like, and I think people underestimate and then they overestimate themselves too a little bit. That they go too much to extreme. Like, I'm like, I'm a very realist person about myself. Like, I don't think I'm a. Do I think I'm greater than most people? Sure, but I don't think I'm like. But like, I don't think I'm like arrogantly like, oh, I'm better than you. Like, if I go to a restaurant and be like, do you know who I am? Or like, I'm better than you in that aspect. Not really. But like, there's a little certain level of respect of like, hey, I got here for a reason. I didn't just got given this. Like, I didn't pay $100 to get verified. It's like a reason for this. Like I think, wow, yeah, just I'm just realistic about yourself. Like, do you feel that you're realistic about yourself?
Probably too realistic.
Yeah, because
Or press yourself down a bit, you know?
yeah, like when you were talking like the body dysphoria, like I could comment on how well you look, but like I don't think that would change your opinion at all. It all depends how you look at yourself.
Yeah, it's weird because like you kind of also you idolize other people, don't you, and what they look like, and then you speak to them and they don't even see what you see in them. So it's that kind of thing. Like it doesn't really matter. Like I have a great person in my life that I love, and my family love me, and people say the nicest things to me all the time. It does not matter. I still feel the same way I do, and it's frustrating because I know, like I'm telling myself, no, like you're gorgeous, whatever. Like come on, but it still plays out in my brain, and I don't know. I can't change that no matter how much I've tried. But I get increasingly frustrated at that for myself. So it's like it's not like I don't appreciate someone going, oh, like you're beautiful. Like who doesn't want to know they're beautiful? Everyone wants to know they're beautiful, right? Everyone wants a compliment, but it doesn't. It really doesn't change anything at all.
I mean, it's almost the same because I think you are a beautiful person too,
Thank you.
and I wish you could see that for yourself because like I have another friend that she a really good looking person too, and it's like just love yourself. Like you're more beautiful than most people on this planet. And it's like, come on, like just I mean, but like I don't really fully understand, but like the
I'll
mental
give you
health
like
is
a
a bitch.
secret. So the other day I did a show on sex and disability, which will go on TV, and it's about finding a sex aid that works for disabled people specifically. And for me, I was looking for something hands free because who wants to use their hands? And some people can't use their hands because they don't have hands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you've done this whole thing, and I've done a shoot in my underwear, and I'm talking about sex openly, and I did it. And then I walk
Okay.
away and I'm like, start to freak out. And then people send me pictures of it and I'm like, oh my god. And it's like fine because I've seen it and it's not terrible, but you start kind of stripping back every layer. Oh, I could have done that
Mm-hmm.
better, could look better. Maybe we went to the gym and pulled that stomach in a little bit. Maybe have less of a fupa. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you start doing that to yourself. You got like, stop it. And then other people saying like, you look great. And I'm like, oh yeah, but like, and now I know it's going out to the TV world. So how many thousands of people are going to see it? And it starts making you go, you know, it starts making you feel certain kind of way. But I did it, right? And I'll probably do it
Mm-hmm.
again. But I still feel like this.
I think like I'm a deeper in the past than you, so I think it might help you with your whole the anxiety issue that I think you're having. That when I first started, I had like a lot of insecurity about myself. Like, am I a good host? Am I funny? Am I this? Like, it's one thing to think about something, but it's another thing to do. So when I started doing the podcast and I do all the editing myself and all the videos that I do, I'll like look at myself because I have to, and then I'll see like, hey, I am funny. I am a good host. I ask good questions. I'm personal. Have empathy. All these great things because I get to see it, so that help you when you when you think you did a bad job on a project or a video, and then you look back at it and you say that, oh, I didn't do a bad job, I actually did a good job. Doesn't that help you in the future to be less anxiety prone because you can have more faith in yourself?
I agree with you, but then sometimes I go into this place where I go, but if I don't feel like that, will I ever keep improving? Will I sit on my laurels and be like, oh, I'm great, and that's it? Like, because I do a podcast and I can talk. I know I can talk. I love talking. I can't shut up sometimes, and I'm really comfortable in that space where I'm just having a conversation, and I'm okay with that. But then sometimes I go, I'm always like, I could still be better. Like, I look good, it's great. You ask good questions. You've got great guests. Da 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 da. But you can still improve. That's my problem. Was like, you can still improve. Like, oh, you look good. Like, I'll be like, oh, you look great today. Yeah, but we can still improve. How do we? What do we? Okay, maybe that could have been. Or your hair could have been. Or this could. And that's just my analytical brain just analyzing every detail. It's like a gift and a curse.
I mean, it's definitely a curse. I can totally understand why the way your brain is working. Like, no matter how good you look, maybe even look the best you could ever, there'll be something you nitpick that could look better, even if it's not achievable.
Yeah. But my problem is, I think everything's achievable. I do honestly believe whatever you want, you can have, and that's the problem. Because then my brain's like thinking, well, how do you achieve it, or how does that work, or what do we need to do to have that? Like, and it starts problem solving after analysing things. That's problem solving. Well, we can't have it instantly, but let's make a plan. Where's our 5-year plan? How do we gain that in 5 years at least? How do we make that better? How do I speak to more people across the pond? Like, how do we do this? And then you find solutions. We live in a world of information, so there's always a way of finding out things that even we think are not possible.
Well, what is your 5-year goal then? Let's talk about your 5-year plan.
Oh, that would be telling, wouldn't it, though? That would be telling. You can't take a 5-year goal to the internet.
You can tell me one. You can tell me one, and I'll tell you one of mine.
I know you're not religious. I'm spiritual, not religious, because I do love Satanism as well as I love meditation and spiritualism. However, I'm very much like, ooh, like, if you speak openly about something, will it become true? However,
okay,
I will pick up something. I definitely want to be a better advocate for the MS community. I want to be able to bring MS to a bigger platform and to have more open conversations and allow people to feel less alone. That's a massive 5-year plan goal. I want my podcast to go further. I've had to take a massive break, obviously, like I said to you, because I haven't had drugs and stuff. I've had a lot of like mini relapses. So they're like not real relapses, they're like pseudo relapses. So you get all the symptoms, but it's not really creating anything. So for about, I keep saying 6 months, but I'm sure months have passed. So it might be 9 months. I haven't actually put out an episode, although I have them. Like you, I edit everything myself. And sometimes that's longer than recording it. And you kind of want things to be streaming well, and it's not. And I've got a full-time job as well. Like, I actually work, then I do social content. Now I'm doing modelling, and I'm sort of doing podcast. It's all from home, all by myself, with an illness that makes me have incredible fatigue. It's really difficult. But I would love to bring my podcast to... Who doesn't want to be Oprah, basically? Who doesn't want to be Oprah? I want to have a sofa where people come and sit down with me and talk openly about the disabilities and how we can change the world together, because I do believe that anything that we do for the disabled community benefits the whole world and always has. And I think we are the innovative bunch of people. I think we are the future. And I think people should give us way more credit, and we deserve way more visibility. And I would love to help create that, but also would love to help people create accessible, adaptable fashion that is actually fashionable. So there's a difference between clothes and style and being chic and fashionable. They're not the same thing. Anyone can buy a look. We go into a shop, there's a window display. They've kind of, aligned out a look for you. You pick it up, you go, okay, great, look good. But that's not style. And sometimes it's not really fashionable. It just is. And a lot of adaptable fashion for disabled people.
I find a lot of disability clothing like really ugly. Like,
yes,
who would wear this?
Yeah. How many black pants do you need? Like, really? And white shirts? Like, I don't feel that's our vibe. at all. Like, I'm looking at what you're wearing, looking at what I'm wearing, and I wear black, obviously, but like, I need something that's cool, that's becoming, that's
Yeah,
hip.
it's horrible. Like I don't like I.
It's like ridiculous, and I think the top brands, like, if you can do couture week and you can spend like untold money doing that, there's no reason why you can't make me an adaptable Gucci outfit or Balenciaga piece, or you can't make us adaptable fashion for the runway so that I can be on like couture week, on like a Schiaparelli show. Like, there's no excuse, and I want to use my voice, as you can probably tell. And I want people to push through and be like, look, there's no excuse. Like, who doesn't like look at, like I always say to people, look at the Nike trainers that came out for disabled people for ease of slipping on. Everyone that bought them, most people were not disabled. Because everyone is a little bit lazy nowadays sometimes, and we all want ease of style and ease of putting things on. So I don't think it's going to stop other people buying it just because it front fastened or you can unzip an arm. Like, actually, I think people will be like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's innovative, and everyone likes innovation. So that's my goal. What's yours?
I'll talk about you first, and then we'll talk about me. Yeah, I interviewed someone that runs a company called Runway of Dreams. And she,
okay.
yeah, you should definitely follow her or follow the brand. So they work with brands to bring accessibility options to clothing. So Tommy Hilfiger is one of them. Zappos, I think, another one, and a couple of other. I think Kohl's is another one. With that being said, all the clothes I think are really ugly, and I confronted her about it because I interviewed her about it. She doesn't really have that kind of say of what says or goes. I think it's the fashion thing, but it's also the clothes is really ugly. But I don't know, like you were saying, like I don't think it's not that much more expensive to make something adaptable. I think it's a little more hassle to do, which I understand. But like in the grand scheme of things, it costs maybe like 10 cents more to make something accessible. And then like I also confronted her like, oh, it's such a niche audience, so like, is it worth it? Is it like a PR move to have something accessible, or do actually like, oh, we can make money off of this? So like, it's kind of like, it depends on the situation. Yeah, like I don't know. People say the disabled people community do have money, and then they also say the disabled community is poor, and I guess maybe it's somewhere in between and such. But I think the lack of accessibility clothes, but I think it's just the looks of it. I think it is really ugly. Like, I would love to buy it, but I think it just looks horrible, and I would never buy it in a million years, no matter how useful it is, because it's not my style.
Same.
It's like horrible.
Same. And I actually think I met the woman you were talking about at a show that I actually done for Fashion Week. I think she was there with her son, filming a documentary.
Yeah, Mindy Shire.
Yes, she has the most amazing style, personally. Like, her style is actually
that's the woman I'm talking about.
But I want her clothes adaptable. I don't want the clothes that other people are bringing on board. Like, she's so stylish. People should ask her what she's wearing.
I know. I confront her about it. I'm like, you're so stylish yourself, but like the company she works with, the clothes are not like that great. And I was like, come on, like, because she works in fashion for like 20 years. I'm like, we want you to be like, bring the fashionable, you know? So
it's getting funding. There's people ready to make it, but it's about getting the funding to create that kind of new clothing. And also, like, I done a panel recently at NADEX in Birmingham, and I was on a great panel of people, and a lot of the feedback was like, when there's students at school, at fashion college, trying to innovate and be more adaptable, no one knows how to. So there's no information that people can give other people to be like, oh, this is how you do this is how you make it adaptable. So we need to actually talk to the disabled community, figure out what they need and how to make things adaptable for them, and then create a book. Maybe that's the next thing, create a book. We put it in the first half.
Yeah, like if you type in like clothing, fashionable, disabled people, nothing really like shows up. It's like hard. It's hard to find you if you're just not knowing what to look for. Which is hard to like good to Minnie that she has her organization that does help push the envelope more. But yeah, I think it is hard to do, and then it's easier for like a large company like Victoria's Secret that can do accessible fashion because they have like the machines and all that, and like they have the whole infrastructure ready to go. But like when you're
Yeah,
talking
like
about
Kim
like individual
Kardashian.
person like you, it takes you so much time to do it, to do one article of clothing. It
Well,
just
this is the
takes.
thing, right? We're going to mirror the cannabis industry, aren't we? Where, like, you had people that were in jail for cannabis and were innovative and wanted to make it, but no one's funding them to do
Yeah.
it. And a bunch of people with money and no real overall connection with cannabis other than they see it as a money making scheme are making the money and earning it all because they have the money initially to
Mm-hmm.
put in something. You're going to see all the big brands are going to do it 50-50 whether they hire someone disabled to actually even advise on it or whether they're just going to get a research team to figure it out for them. And they're going to make all the money, and there's going to be all the designers that were the ones that were actually creating the revolution and not going to get the actual right kind of visual and like PR that they should be. And that's the most frustrating thing about it. So when I see someone that I think, regardless if I want to wear your clothes or not, you're at a start and obviously things are expensive, is probably why it looks like that. I'm going to shout about you and tell the world about you because I want people to know that actually you are the first. And these other brands that happen to have the money because they can just, look at something and be like, oh, I like your glasses. Right. Here's some cash. Get into a factory. I want 2,000 pairs of those glasses. I can't do that. But I
Yeah.
guarantee with more style and innovation in my brain, it's just that it has nowhere to go. So if anyone's listening to this, contact me and Joe if you are the person with the money, and we'll definitely help you make adaptable, cool fashion.
Yeah, it's just I don't have that outreach to that, and yeah, it's the money and it's the infrastructure. That's the hardest part of getting clothes. Like I know the companies are making like shirts for like 10 cents, and it's only for $40. Like, come on, like
Yeah.
you can't afford another 10 cents to make something more accessible. But like I'm trying like my long term. It kind of comes to my long term goals. Though I know like personally I don't have like I know my opinion is valuable in a sense, but like I don't have the outreach to do anything. Like no one will listen to me because of my disability, which I do understand that. But people listen to more about your status. So like one of my goals was be monetized on YouTube, so that's accomplished. Another goal was being verified on Instagram, that's accomplished. And then the biggest thing I'm trying to get is a large number of following because more people are gonna respect you the larger number you have, right? So if I have a larger following, I have more sway of things I can get done. So like one thing I would love to do is the fashion thing, so I can like approach a brand and be like, hey, let's do this fashion thing. Let's just start the conversation. And if I have, a million followers behind me, they're more likely to say yes to me versus me that have 6,000. Like they're not even gonna know who I am. So that's a long term goal because the larger following you have, the more things you can do with that, and like the money that comes into it. And then the other thing is I'm working on a project. So I don't know. Like, are you familiar with like dressing sticks and such? Like
Dressing
too.
stick. So like something to ease of dress or
Yeah. Like so, like some have like hooks and like.
yeah. You can get like stuff for socks, and basically for women we've got a lot of dresses that are like hard to zip up in the back, and you can have tools that help do that kind of thing.
So I'm creating a whole system. So there's three things that kind of difficult about. So one is that when you buy something, it's only one size. So it's a hassle to do if you're traveling, especially because like you can't put in a bag or anything. It's like a stick out. So it's kind of ugly. So it's one size. Two is that it only works for fully able-bodied people. So like you can't like twist it or any capacity, and it's really awkward. And then the third thing is you're only given the heads that they give you. So what if you want a shoehorn on one end and you only want one hook on the other? You can't do that. You need like 4 sticks to accomplish everything. So what I created is a stick, but you get to choose whatever head you want.
Ah.
And what's also great about this is that it's a pole that's telescopic. So the pole is small, so you could put it in your purse, and no one would see it. And then be like, hey, you want it to be 4 foot long? You just twist it and pull it. It'll be a 4 foot long stick. And then and then you can shoot whatever head you want. So hey, you want a hook on one end? Awesome. You want a shoehorn on the other end? That's awesome. But I'm also creating a system for like You know, like sometimes people have like trouble lifting their heads up to their face. So I'm developing a system to like how to wash your face with a
Oh
stick.
wow.
So like it, and it, you can, and it's twistable, and the head is you can swivel it. So like you don't have to be perfect. So you can kind of like it's more accommodating to you. So like I'm developing like a whole 40 product system. So I got the hooks going. I have something for to wash your face. Just like, and at the end of the day, I think it'll help a lot of women because a lot of women like autonomy. Guys don't care about their face. They'll just like go to bed, right? So, so like it was for me. I'm a very interested person in a lot of things. So I don't do makeup. I'm not gay, and so I have to like, learn about the whole women experience of like what they do and such for like makeup and such. So something I learned about like with makeup, like women love to do their makeup. Like they did love. It's just crazy. They did love doing makeup even if they never go out, right? So like I created a system. So one of the popular makeup things are like the triangles, like the
Oh,
soft triangle. So
yeah.
like I made a tool that goes to that. So like you can do your I think called contouring. I think
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, contouring.
yeah. So like you have that for that, and then like another thing I'm trying to develop that's taking a little longer is doing makeup brushes. So like like I think women have like 4 different makeup brushes for whatever reason. So like I'm working with magnets right now. So I'm like I did bought like a bunch of magnets. I have to like make sure that it's like okay to like ease off and such. But like magnets that you can like magnetize it so you can like switch makeup brushes throughout the session. So instead of taking 2 hours, maybe it'll take you like half an hour because it'll be all easily accessible to put on together. Like another thing is like washing your face, like we have the contour, but also washing your face with makeup. Like I have the makeup brush, which is also cool is that it's all, I kind of got inspiration from the fashion because of the Velcro, the fabric Velcro. So
Yes,
I
yeah.
put the two and two together. So now it's great because before I used to glue everything, and then I thought about it like if you're doing makeup all the time, stuff gets really nasty, and it's like I don't want you to throw out the whole thing, so I made everything Velcro. So like you can just peel it off, put it in the washing machine, clean it or whatever. Or if it's really bad, you can just buy you can just buy the whole new triangle, whatever you call it, and just put it on and it's good to go again. Something else is like how to wash your body. So like I have it so it's a cloth and all Velcro, so you can wash your body with it, like your entire body with it, and then you can just peel it off and let it dry. Or if it's dirty, you can just put it in the laundry and it's all good to go. It
I
gives
love
you a lot
that.
more versatility of it. There's a lot of so like by the end of this year, I'm planning to have like 50 products released of stuff. So I'm trying to tie in with my 5-year goal. I'm hoping to be a millionaire by this.
Wow, I love that.
So
And also, I definitely want some of these products, so you have to let me know when they come out.
I'm working on that right now. I'm in the United States, and shipping would just be a hell of a lot to go overseas. So I'm trying to make sure it's all working for me, and then I have to try to find someone in the UK or in the Europe area that's willing to take up on this job. Because
Yes.
everything that's possible I'm doing is 3D printing. So I don't know if you're familiar with 3D printing.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
So like I have to first make sure that I'm okay, and I have to find someone that I trust overseas in like the Europe area because shipping would be so much cheaper if it's over there. But so
So you
that
need a
would be
distributor, basically like a European distributor that
yeah.
you can trust to get your product out at a lower cost and shipping
Yeah,
for
I
you.
think it would. I think it would make. I think overall, I think it would be cheaper with the shipping, but also if I'm giving them a cut of what they're doing, I think it would be cheaper overall versus me shipping it out to you because I think most people would love the product, but they don't want to pay 30,
Yeah.
$40 of shipping, and that
More
would just
expensive than actual product probably with the shipping.
exactly. I mean, I know it's very useful. I think the only problem I kind of have is one is people have to know about it, so I have to like pray that people love the product and share about it and stuff. That's the biggest problem, is just people knowing it exists. And then, yeah, that's really it. And
We
then like
got
another,
content creators. You're monetized on YouTube and on Instagram, so use that to your benefit. Do some
I
paid
did.
posts and
Yeah, I did wish I like I'm a disability person, but I also don't like it. I have like other things I want to do that sometimes doesn't line up with. Like, I'm not a very inconclusive person. If that makes sense. Like, I
yeah.
have my like harsher opinion, and I think people don't like that. So I'm planning to have another page. It's called Suits Tools that I haven't created yet, but I will create it. So that'll be more disabled friendly and less controversial. Let's put it that way. So before I take the mic away from you, is there anything you want to say? Promote any words of wisdom, the winning lottery numbers. The mic is all yours.
I wish in the win lottery numbers we could be millionaires in a week. What I'll say is, like, no matter what, like, know you're worthy in the world, because honestly, the world is built up to make us feel less than we are meant to feel about ourselves. We are amazing. The fact that we're on this earth creating anything is remarkable, and to be honest, we're all artists, we're all creators, and we deserve the space that we gain because you've put the work in. Like you said, nothing is that easy. Nothing good is easy. Getting to the top is not easy. So never put yourself down. That's coming from me, who does it all the time. Even I take my own lessons. Definitely come and follow me on the Multiple Sclerosis Fashionista on Instagram. My podcast, the Sick and Sickening podcast, is coming back in the next 2 months. So come and see us over there, and we'll try and get Joe on an episode because
Yeah.
he's not getting away. He's definitely having his own episode.
I have an anxiety attack. No.
No. And then also like and subscribe to YouTube and Instagram for Joe too, because you're missing out on great conversation.
Don't talk about me. I'm okay. I talk about myself all the time later. So it's all about you.
No. We're good. And yeah, hopefully there'll be an adaptable future, a fashionable future, and hopefully next time we speak, I'll be telling you about really chic Alexandra McQueen levels of adaptable fashion. And also, sex and disability is everything, and I will not stop speaking about it. So please do come over to my Instagram to hear me talk about sex and disability always.
All right. Thank you, Roxy, so much for giving me your time and expertise. And thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. I'll see everyone next time. Bye.
Bye.